What is up, browndust 2 fans? So, I got a video I want to do with you guys real quick. I really don't want this to be long, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I really just want to go over some beginner tips for those just starting out in 2024 about gear and what to really focus on. So, I'm gonna make the assumption, right, that a lot of you guys are familiar with gacha games where you have to put gear on certain characters and certain things that'll upgrade them, and there's percentages, there's flat stats. I want to make this as simple as possible just so you can get through a lot of the content and then focus on a lot of the more advanced stuff, right? So going from neutral gear all the way to ultra rare gear. And what's the best practice so you can finally unlock ultra rare gear and you're able to get your characters to optimal power levels, right? So real quick, let's go over some things here. By the way, if you did not get Maid Leatrice, you're really missing out. Anyway, so let's go to bag here. Right now, I have plenty of ultra rare gear. I recently just sold some to get more material, or powder, I should say. So I've got ultra rare, I've got SR, and I've got a ton of rare gear. The reason why this is important is because in this game, when you're able to immediately unlock rare gear, rare gear will get you throughout most of the content, believe it or not. You don't really want to roll, or excuse me, you don't want to craft SR gear because the stat difference between rare and SR is not that big of a difference. Not only that, but the amount of material that it takes you to build SR gear versus rare gear is a pretty big difference. Plus, you need that material for when you unlock ultra rare gear. So, the reason why rare gear is important is because the stats are good enough to get you through a lot of the content in this game. And if you keep continuing to craft rare gear, you will eventually unlock ultra rare gear and you will have saved all the material you need to start crafting immediately. Now, there is one stipulation when it comes to SR gear. And that one thing is the SR ring. Why is the SR ring so important? Because it gives crit damage. In this game, crit damage is very important. Now, the reason why crit damage is better than crit rate is because you will eventually get buffers that will give you crit rate. And let's say you build a pretty decent physical character, right? You'll at least have around probably minimum 10% of crit rate no matter what. But there's multiple buffers in this game. Diana, Helena, Arenas that will give you crit rate, right? And if you are a free-to-play, or I guess I should say more of a beginner character, getting Arenas will be very easy because she's in the pub. She is easily rolled when you're doing multiple 10 rolls, right? And she will give you a crit rate of 30%, which isn't bad. And again, like I said, when you start to get her on top of other buffers like Diana, which gives you another 30%, that's 60%. You'll be relying on that crit damage for that SR ring, right? So, just to review, when you're building gear, and let me show you an example of who to craft gear with, right? So you have Fred and you have Layla. More than likely, you're probably going to run into Fred first before you run into Layla. And again, if you play the game, you'll be able to unlock these characters. You'll see them in the pub. Very easy to get. Right now, I have Fred on Expert. So in order for me to get him to Legendary, I have to get this bar to 100% and use an ability book. And typically, whenever you need material, it will show you the item location. Now, Expert will craft you SR gear. One below Expert is Intermediate. That's when you're able to craft rare gear. So keep that in mind. So if you can get to Expert, continue to craft rare gear except for the ring. The ring is where you get extra stats of crit damage, and it's a little bit better. Plus, the material needed for the SR ring isn't as bad as some of the other material, and I'll get into that in just a second. So I just want that to be the biggest note you guys take from this. Continue to build rare gear throughout the game. There are many people that are high up in PvP, that are high up in the content, that still have rare gear, and I'm going to show you myself. I'm going to show you one of my best units, Scheherazade. I've got nothing but the best gear on her, pretty much, almost. And I even have some of the best gear on my Eclipse, right? Now, when it comes to other units, say for example, my Grand Hilder. I've got her exclusive weapon, I've got some ultra rare gear here, but I have 2 rare items. And I use these, and I'm able to climb high in PvP to the point where I can get Masters, almost just about, or high diamond, right? And also I'm able to use this in regular content and I do just fine. My Rubia, which I've been using a lot more lately, look at this. I have rare armor, rare helmet. So don't think that using rare gear is a bad thing. It really isn't a bad thing. So just keep that in mind. You'll be using this throughout the content that you play, and it'll help you throughout as well. Now, keep in mind there's different ranks. There's rare gear 1 to rare gear 4, and this applies for all the other types of gears. So for ultra rare, for SR, and for neutral gear, there's ranks 1 to 4. Only use ranks 3 and 4 when you try and roll for gear. So as you're crafting, and I'll give you an example here. Let's take Fred. So as you're crafting the rare gear, or again the ring, you're just going to want to make sure that hopefully you can get some S or rank 4. So let's say I want to craft 8 of these. You're going to roll. See, now I got 5 Knight's Robe level rank 1, but I got 1 Knight's Robe 4. Just to let you know, I don't want to get too much into the numbers, but it's about a 5% rate for rank 4 items in general. But I was able to get 1 Knight's Robe 4. And I think I got 2 Knight's Robe 3 there, but I didn't really see it. But either way, 3 or 4 is what you want to focus on. Now, when it comes to refining or upgrading these items, let's go to a companion. Let's take Fred, for example. I don't have anything on Fred, so let's take a random item. Let's see what this is. So I'm going to take this Knight Sword 4. I'm going to equip it. And now I'm going to upgrade it. So there's different ranks, 3, 6, 9, and it will add a random option, which will be a letter. And I'll quickly go over those letters once we upgrade here. Now, typically you want to upgrade to 100 repetitions. It may seem like a lot, but it really isn't. So we've got BAB. Now, what do these, what do these numbers, or excuse me, not numbers. What do these letters mean, and why is it so important? Well, if we take a look at, let me see, where'd it go? Okay, here we go. So if we take a look here, let's give this a read. Chance of improvement in 1 refinement. All letter combinations in the same column have the same power level. For example, if your rare gear letters are currently BSA, the bonus is already 19 out of 24 of the max SSS, and you have a 0.02% chance of improving to the next refinement. So we have BAB. So let's see if we can find that on here. BAB, that's rank 14. So as a rare gear, we have 2.89% chance of upgrading to the next refinement of 15. Typically, the consensus in the browndust 2 community is if you can at least get grade 18 or BBS rank, right, or AAA, right, any of these, don't really go much farther because the amount of material you need to at least attempt to get the next rank would be very difficult, guys. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to build certain ranks. Even if you get to a bonus of strength 18 versus 19, that's still okay. But yeah, BBS is around here is what you want to aim for, right? So again, keep that in mind. If you can get close to this, that's okay. But again, anything past this grade is just almost impossible to get, guys. So keep that in mind when you're trying to manage your material. Of course, you get flat stats versus percentage stats. Which one is better? I'm not really going to focus on that. Maybe an advanced guide I will, but if you're just trying to get through content, it doesn't really matter that much. The only thing that matters really is just crit damage. Uh, but of course, you want to make sure you have attack stats on your sword versus your defense or your yeah, your MR or your physical defense, whatever, right? So this is pretty good. So we got flat stats and then attack percentage stats. And now this is where you could refine all of these stats if you want to, using refining stone, which is very important. And the higher the grade of gear, the more you have to use and the more it'll cost, right? So if you wanted to make Fred a little bit stronger here, maybe you don't want don't want defense or HP. Maybe you want to lock this and then re-roll for these two stats. You can go ahead and do that. Right, so I got attack percentage and magic resist. I'm going to confirm. I'm going to keep this, and then you could continue to re-roll for this because you want all damage stats. Maybe you want crit damage. Maybe you want attack percentage. So just keep that in mind, guys. You know, you'll be using a lot of resources, so don't go too crazy on building up your rare gear. But for the characters you're using to get through content, just try your best to put as much, not as much damage, don't spend too much, but put a good amount of stats on that character and, you know, just keep it going. And like I said, crit damage ring is going to be huge whenever you choose like a character like a Leatrice or a Cry, whoever you would use, right? That you'll get at the beginning of the game very easily. Now, so how to get a lot of this material first, let's go over the material that you'll be using. So here's some of the material that you got, and let me give you an idea of how much I even have. I've got over 400,000 of these plain leather, 200,000 of plain fabric, 600k of this peat, and two of the most important pieces of material is going to be wood and your gold. Reason being is because there's quite a bit of material that you'll need for wood, and as you get to UR gear or legendary status to craft UR gear, you're going to need a lot of gold ores. So obviously when you play the game, you'll have the option to auto run a lot of these hunting grounds here. Now, when you finish a story, this is story pack 1 that we're on right now. Story pack 1, right? Knight's Blood. When you finish a story, you're going to click the auto button here when you enter a story, and this will take you to the hunting zone. When you enter this hunting zone, all you got to do is just beat all of these monsters here until you're able to get to the boss that will be here after defeating the last monster. Once you're able to do that, then life is easy and you'll be able to use your rice to automatically hunt that cave. Over here you can change the difficulty, but remember, if you beat this on hard mode, then you're able to now farm on hard difficulty, which will give you more material, but you have to beat the hunting zone before you can auto it, right? So please keep that in mind. But I'll give you guys some tips on my favorite place to farm. So this is the wild boar cave that we're already in. I just showed you. It'll give you a whole bunch of material. So if you're a beginner, please use this. If you get to chapter 7, you will run into Lizard Man Altar. This is where you can actually farm golden ores. This is one of my favorite spots. Mountain Keeper is chapter 9. This is where you can farm mostly wood. This is my favorite spot, and the reason being is because, like I told you, those are two of the biggest material that you'll need as you slowly rank up to crafting gear and getting to legendary, right? So just keep that in mind. Also too, please do your pass. Do the gear pass. This is such an easy way to get stuff. Do it every day. I've made a video on like doing dailies. Maybe I should make another one, but it literally takes less than 5 minutes to do everything, guys. I promise you. Maybe I really should make a video just to show how easy it is, or another one. But yeah, do your gear pass. And lastly, if you want, and this is like completely up to you, but let me go here real quick. I'm gonna go to the main city. Shit, fuck out the way. Alright, main city here. So sometimes people like to use the field abilities. I only use a few field abilities. So with Lathel, he allows you to search, and I think I already did a search here before, but there will be arrows where it'll show you. Actually, let me go to a different place, because I want to make sure some of you know what it looks like at least. Can I go somewhere that's not dangerous? Hang on, guys. Okay, let's go here. Okay. So I'm in the city. Let's choose Lapple. So now, you see all that green arrow? I just picked something up. If I keep running around, I'll find even more stuff. I found another thing, Pete, times 20. Now, this is completely up to you. As you use the skill more, you can level it up, but I don't really personally use it as much myself, so, again, that's up to you. And yeah, that's pretty much all you want to really focus on. So you just want to keep building rare gear until you unlock ultra rare gear, right? And again, also building that crit damage ring. I can't say that enough. So pick between Layla or Fred and you'll be good to go. And keep ranking it up. Now, I want to mention, when you collect costumes, unlock gear, and recipes, you get a collection buff, which caps out at 80%, and it'll give you like extra stats for in-game, right? So if you got enough material, what you basically have to do is try and get all 4 categories. So rank 1 helmet, rank 2 helmet, rank 3 helmet, rank 4 helmet, right? So 4, 3, 2, and then this is 1 here. And you have to do that for all the categories, from rare to SR to ultra rare. Now that's up to you if you want to do that. Me, again, I don't care too much for it, but I'll probably eventually do it, right? But yeah, that'll give you a nice little extra buff when going through story mode. But again, that's completely up to you. Let me see here. Is there anything else I want to mention to you guys? I'll be making a guide on like ultra rare items and getting into the nitty gritty of like attacks, flat attack stats versus percentage stats, and what to focus on. But make sure as you progress through the game, read your characters and what they do. Because if you're playing Same, right, she increases attack and increases magic attack and heals. So you don't want to just put all physical, or not physical, excuse me, magic damage on her and think that's really gonna, do anything, right? So just make sure for supports like her, she's at least able to stay alive, to keep herself alive, because she's not going to be doing too much damage, but I mean, she does have her other 5-star skins, so I guess that's a bad example, but you get what I mean, right? Someone like a Grand Hilder, I guess, would be a better example. You build her up differently based off of the ability of their costume, so just keep that in mind, guys. But yeah, that is some pretty good tips to building a, starting out with some beginner tips for rare gear. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Let me see. I think I've got one more thing here. What is it? Or did I mention everything? Yeah, I think that's really everything, guys. Just again, rare gear is your best friend when it comes to progressing through this game. And you saw some of my characters. They had nothing but like rare gear for some of them, so pay no mind to it, because when you get to building ultra rare gear, it'll be tough, because the stats for getting a 4-star, or not a 4-star, excuse me, a rank 4 or rank 3 UR gear is pretty tough. And you'll be using a lot of resources to upgrade them to get to that BBS status, or grade 18. So I'll be leaving a lot more guides and stuff in the description, so hopefully this helps, and let me know if you guys have any questions, man. This is JetXC, later.